I think I'm finally ready. I think this should have been my first video. And last night I was thinking about how I was going to do this. I want to tell you my backstory. As long as I could remember, my mom was married to a man named James. Later I found out that wasn't my real dad. My mom started telling me more as I got older. And one day I found out when I was 3 that he kidnapped me after she got married to James because he was jealous when he was never really around in the first place. I did end up living with him at one time, and at that point he didn't care about me. It was me, my brother Jacob, him, and his girlfriend Amanda. He didn't really care about me. I was 6. He had full custody of me. And on my 7th birthday, I just sat there and watched a movie with my brother. He had a steady job, but all he did was lay in bed, do drugs, get drunk, and end up in jail. Fast forward a couple years, I'm 8, well, like a year, and I went into foster care. I lived with my brother Jacob. He moved out, lived with his mom, and I moved in with them. It was his sister, his sister Taylor, his brother Bryce, his mom Jen, and her girlfriend Shelby. I'm sorry. It was Thanksgiving of 2016. We just got done praying and we were about to eat. We heard a knock on the door and I bursted into tears. Everybody was so curious. Shelby opened the door. Me, Taylor, and Bryce ran upstairs and hid, and the cops were called, and all I heard him yell was, "Baby, it's me, tell them to let me go." I was only there for 3 months, and then I moved in with my aunt and my 3 cousins, Julian, Aiden, and Ari. We fought a lot, but we got together most of the time. Then my mom moved, she was living at Georgia at the time. And then she came up to get me, and then we moved down to Georgia. She had a guy named Jamie at her work. They started dating, and then they broke up 1 year later. And when we moved back up here to Ohio, my life kind of changed a little bit because I met all these new people. I got bullied a lot, and I still am because I'm weird. But most people don't understand my backstory, which is why I'm telling you guys. I never really had the best life. Everybody thinks that I just don't care. I get made fun of on the bus, at school, and then I just break down because I can't handle it. And people say, "Oh, go run and cry to mommy and daddy." I explain to them I don't have a dad. He was never around. And they just keep laughing and laughing at me like it's some kind of joke. But if you were there, you would actually know what my life was like. I didn't have anything good with my dad. He's in jail, but there was one fight. I was still living with my aunt, 2017. Going into 2018, I was allowed to visit my dad. My aunt had full custody of me, but I could start visiting him again. His girlfriend Sarah was pregnant, and I met her daughter Elizabeth, and her younger sister, and her younger brother Aiden. There was a fight between Sarah and my dad John, and it was over Sarah taking all 3 kids to go to her grandpa's house. That way me and my dad could catch up, get to know each other a little bit better. But he wanted me to get to know Sarah and get to know the kids a little bit better. So he got into a big fight with her. He punched her. He broke her windshield, took out the fuses, threw them, and then the cops were called. Me and Elizabeth had the kids in her bedroom with the door locked. Me and Elizabeth were in the doorway of the trailer. And next thing I know, Elizabeth runs out saying, "No, stop, this is all my fault." I go after her, and I simply told her, and my dad and Sarah, I told her this is my fault because I came back. I kept running towards what I would never have. Next thing later, I know that the cops are pulling up, and my aunt's there too to get me. My dad went to jail, and then after he got released, him and Sarah got married. They have twins that are my siblings, my half-siblings, that I don't even know. My mom won't let me see him, Sarah, or the kids. And it's just an entire roller coaster for me. Because my dad's in prison for 3 years due to domestic violence. He almost killed somebody, which is Elizabeth's uncle. And he went into a coma. Elizabeth moved away shortly after that. She moved to St. Clairsville. And I went on with my life like nothing ever happened. But when I was 11, I got tired of all the stress, and I ran away. And that didn't solve any of my problems. It caused even more. And I just want everybody to understand what goes on, what happens, that I'm not perfect. Everybody thinks that I'm poor at my school because I don't care how I dress. Right now, I'm still in my PJs because I woke up like an hour ago. I know I don't have the best setup. I film with my phone because I'm trying to save money. My money. My mom went back to work 7 months after she had surgery. She had a herniated disc in her lower spine. I had to do a lot of work around the house. She was put on bed rest, and half the time I was at school, I couldn't do anything. She was still up with me at 6 in the morning to help me get ready. He was on the couch. She could barely walk. And I had to help her as much as I could. That put even more stress on me. And my 11th birthday was a big surprise. It was the week before my birthday. My mom picked me up at school, and we drove down to Florida to see my aunt for a week. And that was kind of the best thing that ever happened, because I haven't seen my Aunt Tracy ever since I moved back up to Ohio. I never really understood what it would be like, how my dad would be like, because he was really sensitive at the time that I came back to see him. And I kind of just wanted for him to be okay. Every night I was crying into my pillow, wondering, is he gonna be okay? But that I never knew, because my mom never let me see him. I still want to see him. My mom has friends that are prison guards at the prison that he is at, and she wanted to know the hours, and we still don't know. And I never really understand what's gonna happen next. My life has been a lie the entire time, but nobody really understands that. But my mom and my dad, who does who knows what. When I was 7, my brother would get me off the school bus. At the time, he was working part-time at the fire station, which was right down the street. He would pick me up and take me to the playground across from the fire station, and I would play with the other kids, because the fire chief's wives, or his wife, and her guys' wives would have their kids and take them across the street to the playground. Later then, I found out that my dad was home doing drugs, and Jacob knew that the entire time, but I wasn't old enough to understand all of it. I never really did understand why my dad did these things. I understand that he had anger issues, which caused most of his fights. Instead of completely understanding, he would just burst out in flames. I never understood the reason why he would do this. I later found out that he didn't really love me. Everything he told me was a lie. He said, "Baby girl, I love you." I talked to him within the first couple of months, because my mom had his number, of moving back up here to Ohio. We were going to see my grandma, who also lives in Bel Air. I'm sorry. And all he said was, "Baby girl, I love you, I miss you, I'm trying to do everything I can." A couple months ago, I sent him a letter that said, "I don't have the right to call you my dad. You were never really around in the first place." And he hasn't written back to me. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I mean, I'm going to be a teenager soon, and I just want to understand more. That way there's less stress on me as I go through school. And if I go through college, I understand what's going on in my life, because right now I have no clue. I don't know the twins. I don't know my dad at all. And my grandpa died on my dad's side and my mom's side of the family. I never really knew both of my grandpas, but I just want everyone to know that I'm not weird because I choose to be. I'm weird and off balance because of my life. I never had friends growing up. I played with kids older than me when I lived with my dad. I had people that lived on my neighborhood because all the kids in my grade thought I was weird. I played with college kids. I played with high school kids, middle school kids when I was in elementary. I didn't have friends my age And my Bryce and Taylor are going to the high school next year. Well, Bryce is already, he would be in 10th grade, Taylor would be in 9th. And I won't have anybody to be there for me. I really relied on them before I moved away. And people would say Taylor doesn't love you. And he and my mom were talking about the twins and stuff. And I found out that Taylor and Bryce really weren't my siblings. Elizabeth wasn't my sibling. Only the twins were. I'm an only child. My only brother passed away before I was born. He was born in 2005. He's 15, but he died due to kidney problems when he was only a couple months old. If you go to my TikTok, I have a slide, and the last slide is my brother's grave. He means the world to me. And half of my problems I don't even tell my mom about because she doesn't understand me. I don't know how to tell everybody or anybody my problems. I don't talk to anybody at all because I feel like they won't trust me, or they'll say that it's not true. At one point, I had so much stress that I got a copy for the school therapist, and I'd go to her. I don't talk to her about half my problems. Me and my mom get in some fights, and that's all I tell her about is the fights. Other than that, everything's okay. On the last day of school, when the coronavirus broke out, I got smart with one of my best friends, and she punched me. She almost broke my jaw. I landed really hard on my shoulder, which almost broke it. And she didn't even punch me in the face, it was right here. She hit me in the head with the side of her fist. I thought me and her were best friends, but apparently not. So next year, going into 7th grade, I won't have any friends. I'll just be the weird freak that sits in the back of the class again, like I have been for my whole life. I don't understand what my problem is. And I just don't understand what my dad's problem is with me, with his wife, with their kids. He's just never understood what actually goes on around him. He cared about me for so long, to the point where I don't even remember when my mom was married, while my mom was married to James, she had a pill problem. I wouldn't call it like an addiction, but she did have a problem. One night I felt tired and I slept on the floor. I wake up in the morning because I felt something hard under my pillow. I look under it and it's a knife. I go to James and I was like, whose is this? It ended up being my mom's knife. But she's changed a lot. She only does medications for for like ibuprofen, Claritin we both take, but none of it's really prescripted unless from a doctor because of her back pain. And that's basically my life story. I know I'm not playing petty at all. This is all true. I just want people to know that I'm not actually weird because I choose to be. My life is pretty messed up, and I was overthinking this so much last night. I didn't even know if I was going to make the video. So, this is my life. Thank you for watching. I hope I didn't get anybody too sad during the video. But I'll see you next time. Bye.